are at Portland International Raceway for the second round of the SRA National Championship Sidecar Series for 1997. I'm sitting atop a long chassis, which is built in California. It's a very nice, different type of machine that used to be raced out here. It was a shorter chassis in the past, and we've developed this into the long chassis based on what they're doing in Europe. The SRA stands for the Sidecar Racers Association, and we're a national organization that this year, for the first time, we're going to have our own national championship. The last legs, the East Coast legs, will be at Elkhart Lake in the Sunday, June 8th. Is through this unit right here, which complies to the rules by making it the front handlebars have to be a part of the steering unit, but the weight and the load is handled by this part, which is more taken from what car people do and the car type of suspension. We have two calipers up in the front. The front one with 4-piston is operated by the foot pedal, and this is what you call an emergency brake. In case you have a brake failure, you still have a hand brake similar to a motorcycle would have. Moving back, we have a tubular chassis that goes on back and connects to the rear. We've mounted the brakes inside the tube chassis, and we use a linkage over to you're using your right rear foot in here as you kneel in the bike to push the brakes on. The motor is strictly a motorcycle motor. This is a Kawasaki 1100. It's been highly modified. It has a dry sump system. We're running the oil cooler and oil filter out there on the chair for the weight distribution to make that a little bit more conducive to higher turns. We've actually got to the point where we're putting the battery up in the front just to transfer a little bit more weight and to get it up here. We're using Penske shocks from the Penske racing, auto racing world, and these have really improved the handling of the bikes. The chair wheel on a sidecar, on a road racing sidecar, is rigid by rules. You cannot have a suspended chair wheel member. So this is your chair wheel, but it's completely adjustable, so you can adjust your camber and caster and your toe in right here. And this allows you for modifications at each racetrack. If you have predominantly left hand or a right hand track, you can go ahead and dial it in just the way you like it. And each rider is a little bit, more particular about how they want their bike to feel. The rear suspension is stolen right off of a Formula car. This upright here is used on a Tiger Racer, and we've modified the CV joint to adapt to a chain, and we're just go ahead and put the chain on there and line it up with the motor. It's completely adjustable. You have a camber correcting angle up here, and you have your complete adjustments, and the ride height adjustment here hooked into your Penske shock. It's a really nice little package, and it goes really fast. You could hit up to about 170 miles an hour on this unit right here. It's putting out about 160 horsepower, so it'll get down the straightaway pretty quick. And the brakes that are on it work very well, so you could stop very fast also. It'll put the passenger right into the fairing if the driver hits the brakes very hard. These are racing carburetors right out of the motorcycle world, flat side CR carburetors. They produce probably about 15-20 horsepower just by bolting those on, and the complete package is a teamwork package, so the driver, the passenger, and the bike are all very tuned in to each other, and the modifications you can do and the adjustments you do is because the team requires these adjustments to go faster around the turns. So that's what sidecar racing is all about.
Okay. Well, the first event of the OMRRA season brought the sidecars. We won't be seeing them up until later on in September. Well, anyway, upcoming is an interview with Rick Murray, president of the Sidecar Racing Association, on April 27, 1997.
President of the Sidecar Racers Association for the Western United States, and we're here this morning, or this afternoon. Oregon sunshine, looking forward to it. Track's great, the people are great, and we're here to have fun. Sidecar racing's been around in the U.S. since the early 60s, early to mid 60s. It's the only motorsport that requires two people. The horsepower, the machine, all takes kind of a back seat to the passenger and driver. The team's what's the most important part of the sport. If you ever are willing to trust your life in someone else's hands and have a whale of a good time doing it, this is the way.
How do you view Portland on your first stop?
Okay, Portland, this is our third year up here. The track is great. People treat us well. Portland's fun. This is our second of a series for the National Championship for 1997. Previous race was at Willow Springs last weekend, and we run here this weekend, and then the second weekend in June we'll run at Road America for the final race to make a national champion for 97.
What kind of speeds do you hit in the front straightaway?
We're running 165 on the front straight here when we shut down.
I heard that if you go down to like the next race, you'll be going some downhills, and you might really hit some really down.
Yeah, Road America is supposed to be very, very fast. They're scooting us up here.
Okay, well, what are we doing here now?
Well, today what we're doing is a chance for the public to come and see the machines up close, do some video, photos, autographs, whatever, kind of announce to the spectators what we're doing. We had a new series sponsor for 97 called Crank 2.0. It's a caffeinated beverage, caffeinated water, great stuff, and they've been very helpful to us.
Okay, well, looks like everybody there is getting a chance here. Let's see here. Yeah. You gonna be running any? Do people get a chance here to go for a ride here?
Yeah, on Saturdays when we're up here, they sell tickets. That anyone with a racing license and the full required safety gear gets a 2-lap jaunt. One lap relatively slow for feel out, and the next one a little bit faster. That's on the Saturday during the practice sessions put on by the club. We'll be up here again in September with the club race. And anybody that wants to come out and try it, discuss it with the track, and we like to give rides.
I hear it's really exciting for the monkeys in the back.
Yes, it is. We give people fair warning when they go out. You'll either love it or hate it. I've had people get on it, do 2 laps, walk away, and never talk to anybody again. I've also had somebody get on it, go 2 laps, and go buy one.
Oh, how much does one of these things cost?
Run anywhere from around $3,000 up for a machine. It depends on the vintage as much as anything else. Like we've got one on the back of the trailer, which is a prototype model of a number of the machines.
hot spot at 12, but it gets good at 13.
Well, yeah, better, not good. Yeah. It could have been we didn't have enough air in it before. Could be.
It seems like it would be the other way, though. You know, less air, more on a pound.
Yeah, exactly. Cheers, please.
Kind of what do they call it extreme racer?
Yeah. That's sort of extreme, avant-garde.
Avant-garde.
Leading edge, as I would say.
Leading edge. Ooh. Sure looks like a race bike to me.
Would have fooled me, of course.
Boy, that's a nice bike you got. What is that, 1100? Yeah. Wow. That's pretty. Is this 1997? It's a 92. Wow.
It's like a 97.
They haven't changed much.
Yeah, that's it. There's only so much you can do.
It comes stock with all the wheels the way they are? Wow.
No, it comes without.
Oh. A comic in the crowd. All right. They have it everywhere. Ooh, boy.
Just put it on blocks and give it to you that way.
Really honestly
All right.
don't know. Usually looking at the road when I dial it on.
What was the guy you had?
Well, I think most people would agree that being behind the stands, a shot behind the stands is not the kind of shot I should be showing you all. But this is my program, and I want to take you in a new direction. Earlier, we talked to a couple sidecar racers from sunny Southern California, and now I want to talk to a local rider here, a newcomer to the sport, riding in the vintage class. He's actually riding an old Norton 65 because I don't have a coil on mine, and I don't have the flat bars. Mine was. This has really been built over into like a.
That's Commando model 65 with one of the old Dominators or something.
What year is this?
71.
71. Yeah, I had mine was like a TT model and had pipes on the side here. I had two pipes that came up right through here, kind of like a scrambler model.
Oh, okay, yeah. That really, the middle range, that really never.
Well, how does this work for you?
It's pretty good. It's right along. It's kind of difficult. You're out there with some of the more modern bikes, and let's face it, on the straightaway, toast.
Oh yeah?
They're so toast.
What displacement does this have?
750.
750? I noticed you got your tack all taped up there.
No, that's a requirement. Just to cover the portions of all gauges that you aren't actively using.
Oh, so you don't get distracted.
Well, distracted, and also they're worried about glass breaking.
Oh. Huh. That's interesting.
You want glass, you want tape over it, because then, let's face it, this thing goes down and speeds for crash holes and track. You're not going to be making any friends.
Well, how fast does this bike go out there?
I don't really know. I don't. Obviously, no speedometer on it. It's turning about, I know somebody said, low 50s, high 140, 150 seconds around. Probably, my guess would be just over the time, just over 100 miles down the straight.
Well, these were the fast bikes of yesteryear.
Oh yeah.
And they still are working pretty good. You have many problems getting this thing working right, or?
No. I went through the motor, over the winter and the spring, and it really doesn't have that much mileage. It's almost a brand new motor, brand new transmission. Really, everything's been gone through on the bike. I've had zero problems with it.
I know these Nortons were notorious for leaking oil and what other things. The Lucas was, problematic. But you got disc brakes on this too.
Yeah. Well, those are aftermarket. They're reproductions of the stuff they used on the production racer. Parts for these things are easy to come by. The vintage movement is very active. There's another Norton parked on the far side.
I gotta go check that other Norton.
There's a couple more, and a friend of mine down from Canada is parked a bit over that way on 142. It looks kind of like a John Player special, but it's not because it's built off of feather.
Well, where are you from?
I'm local. Beaver.
Local? Oh. Do you mind if I put some of this on Access? Maybe make a show about this, put it on TV?
Sure. If you want to do vintage stuff, there's a million of these guys out here, and they'd all be willing to talk to you.
Oh, great. This is Vintage Day? Is that?
No, it's I don't have the
Well, there's your race day schedule, but...
Yeah, but that's not actually going to tell you what you want to know. If you give me a minute here and let me root around, I think I can actually find what you're looking for.
I'll look at your bike while we're looking. This is a super clean Norton.
The guy you really want to talk to is Fred Eaton, who's the organizer for the Sounds of the Past, which is you know, racing series to promote vintage racing. There's a bunch of guys here that run Commandos, Tridents, a couple of Daytona 500, and a lot of Italian singles. And he does a pretty good job of promoting it just to, you know, broaden the appeal. That's kind of how I got into this. Was one of my friends who just left here a little earlier race Norton Commando as well. He's not racing this year due to personal business reasons, but sort of hooked me into the sport.
How long has that been?
For me, racing, this is my first year out.
First year out.
Well,
wow.
you can tell by the plates. Any number that starts with 7.
Okay, we got to have a plate here, number.
The 7.
Oh, okay,
series.
7.
That identifies the bike and the rider. Identifies the rider as being a novice.
718. Okay. And then so, coming up, the main event or the main.
Oh, it would be on the 19th through the 21st, which would be the vintage weekend. They're doing vintage racing, promoting the vintage racing, and they'll also be doing sidecars as well.
Wow.
If you haven't seen sidecars, it's something else.
Well, I've seen a little bit of those sidecars the last time I was out here, and that was really exciting.
Yeah.
Sure like to see them come out here again, though.
They did that a couple weekends, and you know, the amazing thing is, I mean, it doesn't resemble. I mean, if you're familiar with the sidecar on a motorcycle, it's not. I mean, the chassis. It's built as, you know, one vehicle with 3 wheels. The speeds they reach are phenomenal.
They sound like F1 machines going down the track.
Yeah, well, they use, you know, just a big motorcycle engine parked behind the driver. The pilot is basically lying on their stomach with their feet way out behind him, and you know, it's like 1100, 1200 cc motor out of a large Japanese motorcycle, and then the passenger, or what they technically call the monkey, is just crawling all over the place on the back of that thing.
It gets a chance for someone to ride those things without, you know, being involved in, because you can just pretty much be a passenger on that thing.
Well,
you
no,
think,
but you got to work. You got to work for your passenger. Actually, usually when they race the sidecars here, they will usually take you out on. They will take people out on demo rides.
Get a chance to go for a ride on this thing.
Yes, I took a guy. One of the guys, I was working corners that day, and one of the guys went out for a ride on one of these things. It was like nothing else he'd ever done. It was all I could talk about for the rest of the day.
Oh, and that's what kind of got you hooked to come out yourself and try some of this vintage racing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was, you know, that. Well, I'd owned the bike before then, and you know, I just sort of thought that, you know, gee, if I was going to do this, you know, it'd be kind of nice to do it on this. I've got a bunch of others that, you know, I could have easily taken a modern motorcycle and got that ready for the track, but this just seemed more interesting because, you know, and you end up working on it a whole lot. But
how much time do you actually spend on this bike? You know, getting it prepared, coming out to the track.
Between races, you know, unless something breaks, it's actually pretty minimal. You know, you just want to go through and make sure that everything's still secured, that you have no leaks, and that everything's in good working order, and that you'll pass the technical inspection for the morning. You know, like I said earlier, over the spring, I pretty much tore the entire bike apart, and I've gone through the entire engine, the transmission, rebuilt the front end with the disc brake as opposed to the Norton drum brakes.
Probably stops a little bit, tad bit sooner.
A lot. The Norton drum brake is, you know, you grab a big handful, and it's like, okay, any day now, are we going to stop? Yes?
I know, I got my rear drum brakes on mine, and
yeah, okay,
I'm wondering when it's going to stop.
Yeah, or if. Yeah, so you know exactly what it's like.
I got a 65 Norton.
But you know, it's really, other than the disc brake in the front there, it really is completely stock. You know, the motor, there are no modifications whatsoever to the motor. It runs, you know, just fine on street gas, so I don't burn a fortune in racing fuel.
And you don't need much I mean, you don't need a fancy hauling rig. You just put it in your own whatever you have and come on out here.
Well, yeah, actually I went out and bought the truck just to go racing. I didn't actually own a car prior to this. I just
so you bought the truck to come out here and race?
Yeah, I had 3 motorcycles and no car.
You're a two-wheel type guy, and
oh yeah, and
of course,
you know, just
this guy here is my friend here. He'd rather have training wheels, but you know, he was on one of these things, but you know, to each our own. But
so I just went out and bought a cheap truck, and that was the only way to get to the track. You know?
Wow, the vintage racing then seems to be a very affordable sport. Then.
No, it's not.
Not.
If you want to learn to go racing, I can tell you right now, there are a lot cheaper ways to go racing than doing one of these. Number one, the anti-cost for the bike is fairly expensive, and you're gonna pay. You know, if you want to buy, you know, good Norton or Triumph, especially Trident. Tridents go for big money. You know, you're gonna pay, you know, $2,000 for something that runs anyways.
Yeah, but if I was to race the 600 Super Sport, you know, what do those bikes go? I mean, you know, the newer.
No, but if you want to learn how to go racing, you're nuts to go racing. You're nuts to go novice racing on a 600 Super Sport. Well, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's too fast. I mean, it's a ride.
So if you want to learn how to go racing, you go buy somebody's used EX500 or some small displacement. You know, it's still a 4-cylinder. It's pretty fast, but you know, it's not going to get you killed. And you can pick up, you know, you just buy somebody else's novice bike after they've graduated into a big motorcycle, and you can buy something that runs for, you know, 1,500, 2,500 tops. And I've got a lot more than that tied up in this thing, what with the initial purchase of the bike and then having completely gone through and redone everything. So, no, vintage.
You're doing vintage more for the love of vintage and keeping the vintage bikes on the road.
Absolutely.
And keeping the you know, the bike intact. I mean, you know, this is our history of motorcycling, and then this is the Norton, the British, and you know, then the Japanese took over.
That is,
so
you know, that's
basically what you're trying to do is just keep the heritage happening here.
Yeah, it's just,
which is cool.
You know, like the old saying goes, I need to get the T-shirt that says it, but you know, I race motorcycles and I'm broke to prove it. And you know, sink a lot of money into it. And like I said, it can be done for a lot cheaper than I'm doing this.
All right. Well, thanks for talking with me. Well,
pleasure.
Good luck in the race today.
Hopefully, you know, get some, you know, more people involved.
Yeah. That's kind of the name of the game. I don't see many spectators out here.
Yeah, but the guys, most of the bikes are actually hidden behind that row of vans over there, but
well, I'll have to go and check them out then.
Go talk to them, and there's a couple others headed down that way as well. Go see.
So you got quite a drive coming here, don't you? Yeah, we come all the way from Boise, Idaho, and that's about 400 miles or so. And Harvey Atagi and his wife have been helping me haul the bikes out here. Makes it easy. Thanks, Scott. Let's go racing! Bike number 293, Briggs Allen Willoughby, sponsored by Sand. Mike Sullivan, big lead now on the first lap, followed by David Cook, Don Declan. Bike number 349 is the one that's down in turn. He's out there somewhere. Bike number 349. Jamie Nabel down in turn 1. Riders up and all right.
Missing the corner.
Still leading, Mike Sullivan. Dave Cook in second. Rob Carpenter in third. Don Declan in fourth. Wow, look at that. That's quite a lot of light in turn 9 on the outside there. Real close to that tire barrier. They must be able to be confident some of their bailed.
the track and getting back on. Again, the temperature of the track bringing the grease up to the surface and causing a lot of traction problems out there. Lead shrinking a little bit. David Cook right behind him now. Rob Carpenter still in third. Don Becklin in fourth. Tom Smith down in turn 5, Ryder's up and all right. Again, that's Tom Smith, like number 158, has gone down in turn 5, but the Ryder is up and all right. David Cook. Rob Carpenter still in third, Becklin in fourth. David Cook is on the inside, so does Mike Sullivan. Rob Carpenter still in third spot. Let's make this first call for 750 Superbike. First call for 750 Superbike. Whoa! Guy splitting the rider coming in turn 9. That's going to be pretty scary. We understand that rider 221 actually did get his going off the track this time. Good job for rider 221. David Cook extending his lead a little bit over Mike Sullivan. 2 laps to go. Number 24, Rob Carpenter, third. 164 now in fourth spot. That's Troy Burstock. Just ahead of Don Becklin. So Troy Burstock is up. Getting near that white box. If the tires are going to go away, this is the time it's going to happen. Smoking a slower rider. Mike Sullivan being held up a little bit, but getting around him. And they're
second call for 750 Superbike. Second call for 750 Superbike. It's the last lap. If Sullivan's going to do it, he's got to do it now. Rob Carpenter still holding down the third spot. Troy Burstock still in fourth. And Don Becklin in fifth. There's still a lot of racing action out here in this thing. And I don't think it's over between Mike Sullivan and David Cook. Your leader getting on the back straight at this moment. David Cook in front, but just a ton of traffic to have to get through, negotiate through. Mike Sullivan's on his tail. Here it is, turn 9. It's going to be David Cook. Mike Sullivan. David Cook with the win. YZ up 600, sponsored by Beaverton Honda, Motul, Nanojet, Gray, AirTech, and Mototune. Third spot, Rob Carpenter. Burstock, and fifth going to Don Becklin. Last call for 750 Superbike. Yeah.
I think I want to talk to somebody here and ask a little bit about what's going on today.
Well, we've got races going on today.
Yeah. And any upcoming events?
Let's see. In June we have Italian Day, and we have the NASB races coming up this summer, and the vintage races in September. It's gonna be a lot of fun for all of those.
And do you have anything special going on for Harleys? I know there's a lot of Harley folks out there.
Oh gosh, how could I forget that? Yeah, we have Harley Day too. Big turnout of Harley fans and Harley riders, and it's quite a fun event.
Next stop on the Sunday tour, the Zlock Report. I was very, very fortunate to get an interview with Dan Zlock of Zlock Racing out of Spanaway, Washington. He is a tuner for Keith Pinkstaff. Upcoming is a little interview with Keith Pinkstaff also. So these guys here are the professional guys. These guys have been around racing for a long time, like maybe over 20 years. Well, anyway, let's contrast that with an earlier interview that I had with a Norton rider riding the vintage class. So let's begin and see what these guys have to say.
Top here to lower it so that the chain has a straighter run, and when the power is put to the bike, the chain becomes almost like a solid piece of steel across the top, and it would shove down on the swing arm pivot, and that upsets the suspension, causes the bike to squat, and it causes the rider to lose control of the motorcycle. It can't get the drive he needs out of the corners. So that portion of it is modified. The suspension linkage is also of our design, and we manufacture suspension links also that have a different ratios, different shock linkage ratios on them. The stock one is softer for street, so you get a more comfortable ride. Well, for racing, you need a more linear increase in spring rate and dampening rate to maintain control. The same thing can be said for the front suspension on it.
But then again, if you have a stiff suspension, you don't feel the road, right? Or does that depend on the driver?
The stiffer suspension generally will give you a fairly rough ride, and until the rider gets up to speed, to within a second or two of what he's going to be able to run, you can't really get any accurate feedback. The idea is to keep the tires in contact with the pavement. We don't really care about the comfort of the rider. He's going to have to be in shape to handle that situation.
So you don't have much shock movement? No shock movement?
The shock movement is slightly less than stock, but you'll get probably about 4 inches of travel in the rear and about 4.5 in the front out of them.
What about brakes? Can you talk a little bit about the braking differences?
The brakes on these, although the Kawasaki comes with excellent brakes, these are manufactured by by EBC, European Brake Company, and they've been a sponsor for us for the last couple of years. We've went through a number of generations. Their latest generation uses, as is standard practice in the racing industry, a floating disc. As you can see, they flex back and forth on the carrier. That allows the heat and the expansion to not bind them on the rotor carrier itself. However, when they get real hot, they want to warp anyway. So the latest generation of pads that we're using are all metal pads now. They used to be organic combinations, and now they're like a solid bronze-like material, and they absorb the heat from the disc, allowing the disc to not get quite so hot and not warp so badly.
How many laps does it take? Does it take some time for the brakes to warm up? Does it bring them up to an operating temperature?
Usually they're within running parameters on the hot lap. Yeah, you can usually get them up to temperature on the hot lap to where you aren't going to have any problems with them. Pretty good that way.
No fade. No
fade. No.
Can these stop on a dime, just like the what would you say, rumors or fables?
If you watch at the end of the front straightaway here, or at many venues with a top-notch rider like Keith, oftentimes he'll come into turn one with about 6 inches of air underneath the rear wheel. So that's about all the brakes you can use. You can't use any more than that. So.
Now, what about when you talk about like the rear wheel skipping on a bike? What would cause that? Like becoming corner hard and the thing would sort of skip around rather than track around.
There's a lot of.
Do you want these things set up so they do slide? Slide in.
That's true. You want them to slide smoothly around the corners, and a variety of things come into play. Tires. We have a choice of tire compounds and carcasses that will make a big difference. The slick tires with no treads are available in a variety of soft and hard rubbers, and if you get that off, it can upset the suspension, cause it to skip, hop, slide, a lot of problems. It's a combination of suspension, weight bias, front and rear weight bias will upset the bike.
Can you set that with brakes now? Can you set your brake bias on rear and front brake bias on?
We don't even. Most riders very rarely even use the rear brake on the motorcycle, simply because when you have the rear wheel in the air, no matter what you do with the brake, it isn't going to have much effect on the motorcycle. And that's particular to motorcycles. Cars wouldn't have that situation. They always carry a percentage on the rear wheels
right, and
also.
A lot of times a driver can alter that.
Correct.
Adjust that.
Very few riders will. Some riders will use the rear brake for certain applications, but very few do very much with it, simply because of the weight transfer is so severe on a motorcycle. Center of gravity is very high on a motorcycle, whereas a car it would be very, very low. So that being the case, before you achieve maximum braking, you will pick the rear wheel off the ground. It has to do with the center of gravity. If the center of gravity was very high on a car would do the same thing. But it isn't, so it just slides the tires. It won't actually pick the rear end up. You can't get 100% weight transfer to the front of a car, whereas you can on a road racing motorcycle.
Okay, we are in the pits of Zlock Racing here, and how are you doing today?
Doing good. We ran practice this morning. Everything worked well, and ran the heat race, won the heat race, so we're looking forward to this afternoon's main event. Should be in about half an hour, 45 minutes.
Do you think it's going to happen? Because I heard some stories here that if you don't get this track running in 45 minutes and the oil doesn't get swift up or something like that, they're going to close the track down. It's almost getting close to time now.
No, we can run. It's about 20 till 5 now, but we can run till 6 o'clock, so it shouldn't be a problem. I think we've got 5 more races to go, so we'll get them all off. We may shorten the mains from 10 laps down to 7 laps, but we'll run all of them.
Well, I know you're retired, but really, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Retired from national racing and retired from running even the local stuff on a full-time basis, but doing some testing for Zlock Racing. We've got a new engine in the number 21 bike. Dan built an 835cc kit out of the 750 and did some different modifications to the cams, combustion chambers, so it's running really strong today, so we're looking forward to the final.
Now, do you have any advice or any interest that, maybe other people here that would like to get involved in racing? And I know you got some of your mechanical friends here working on your bike, and I don't know if that much people can really afford to do that, but
Well, you can. You don't have to come out with a bike that's a $25,000 bike like this, but we've got a novice class out here you can come and run, and it really is run anything you want as long as it's a competent street bike with good equipment on it. We've got a class before the rider school. You can come out here, go out to Tom Young's place at Portland Sport Touring Center. They'll set you up with prepping the bike for the novice race. We've got one coming up in this August, I believe. And it's a good way to get started. Like I said, if you've got a 450 or a 600, even a 750 street bike, you can come out here with the bike you're riding on the street now and go racing.
Now, I've been meeting and talking to an awful lot of the vintage guys, and it seems like that'd be kind of an interesting way to get into.
That's not a bad option either. If you've got an older bike, we've got a lot of what they call formula classes or clubman classes, and there you can run a variety of equipment, both year and style of equipment, and it'll fit most any class. We've got a class for most any piece of equipment out here. So bring it out. Even if it's 15, 20 years old, there's a class to run out here.
And in terms of money, you don't have to be begging with $25,000, but we can also have fun. I mean, is the goal to have fun, or is it?
Absolutely. You don't have to be Bill Gates to run out here. Again, if you've got the bike, chances are you have the equipment you need to run out here. You'll need full leathers, helmet, gloves, and boots, but a lot of street riders have that already, or there's a lot of used stuff on the market, or bum it off of a friend who's already out here racing. But you can come out here for $35 in license, $25 for an entry fee, and come out here and race for a whole lot of fun.
Now, can you talk a little bit about some of the classes or some of the other events coming up this summer here? I mean, I don't know how much you're involved in it, but maybe.
We've got the next club race here, OMRRA club race, is the 29th of June, and then there's the North American Superbike, which is a national event. NASB Formula USA race is coming on July 18th, 19th, and 20th. The 18th is a Friday. We'll have a full day of practice out here. Saturday is the club stuff that you can come out here and run just what you will see out here today. And Sunday are the national guys. The big boys will be here in town running the Formula USA class, 125 class, and the American Sport Bike class. So, and then we've got races in August, September, and October as well.
Now, you have the sidecars coming back again, too.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure what day. I believe that's the September race, but you'll have to check with somebody up in the tower. But they will be back here for one more race this year, and they're pretty fun to watch as well.
Boy, those sidecars, guys, they're really exciting out here. Last time they were flipping over, it was the rain, and they're flipping out, and every time, I mean, I really would have liked to.
Apparently they weren't used to Oregon weather, and they came up here with just slick tires, which are for dry only. They got caught in a rain shower just before the race, so they're out there on tires that were totally unsuitable for the track, sliding all over, and they actually flipped a car coming on the front straight, righted the car back up, the monkey and the driver got back on and went on racing. So pretty exciting stuff.
Those guys are from California, though.
I think they're California. I think we had a couple of them down from Canada as well, but I believe the majority of them were up from California. Yeah. Apparently it doesn't rain in California.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, let's see here. I see some guys here working on your bike. Are you mechanically inclined? Do you have to be really mechanically inclined to get into the sport here?
I'm mechanically inclined enough to do my own maintenance on the bikes, but when it comes to building something like this, it's way beyond a sophistication level that I'm capable of doing. But again, you don't have to have a bike here. This bike here will do about 185 miles an hour. It'll do 0 to 60 in about 2.3 seconds. It puts out about 170 horsepower. You don't need that to come out here and have fun. Again, you can run some of the vintage stuff. We have bikes out here that'll put out probably 35 horsepower, and the guys and women have great fun riding them. It's whatever you have for a bike at the time and whatever your skill level is. We've got a class to come out here and run, and it's just fun. You don't have to run. You can run as fast as you want. You don't have to worry about cars backing out of driveways. You don't have to worry about police officers with radar guns. You come out here, you have fun. You've got the camaraderie, you've got the competition, and we've got a class that'll fit every bike made. So it's just a good way to get started in racing. I've been doing this about 21 years. This is my 21st year, and got started back in '77 just with that same thing, riding on the street, and decided I wanted to try something where you could just kind of test the competition level and your own skill level. Came out here with the bike that I was riding on the street, took the turn signals off and the mirrors, and safety wired it for the track, and away we went, and had just a great time, and have been loving it ever since.
Well, what about fear? Is there like a fear factor here falling off the bike or anything like that, you might think about that?
Sure, it's a risky sport, and that's something you always have to take into consideration. Again, it's at what level you want to push it. If you want to push it at a level to ride this bike, 185 miles an hour on two wheels is always a factor that there's a risk involved. You can ride some of the vintage classes. Again, there's always a chance of falling and being injured, but at a considerably reduced risk. And there's be a lot of people who will tell you that probably riding on the track in this type of safe environment is safer than riding on the street. So it's a good way to get involved, good way to check your skill level and just have a great time.
All right, well, thanks for talking.
Sure, thank you.